Ukraine accelerates its transition from Soviet-era combat aircraft to Western fighter aviation, a major debate is beginning to emerge, one that could shape the future of the country's air power for years to come. At the center of this discussion are two very different fighter aircraft: the American F-16 Fighting Falcon, which is already becoming the backbone of Ukraine's modernization effort, and Sweden's Saab Gripen E, a newer platform designed specifically for survival in highly contested airspace. Reports suggesting that Kyiv may seek the acquisition of up to 20 Gripen E and F fighters, while also preparing to receive older Gripen C and D variants, have raised an increasingly important question. If Ukraine ultimately fields both aircraft, which one is better suited to survive and fight in the uniquely dangerous threat environment created by Russia's dense air defense network, electronic warfare systems, and long-range missile capabilities? This comparison goes well beyond raw performance figures. It represents a broader clash between two different philosophies of modern air warfare. The F-16 reflects decades of NATO operational experience. It is a proven combat platform supported by an enormous logistics network, broad weapons integration, and interoperability with allied air forces across the Western world.
Ту тактику, яку нас навчали за кордоном, вона не зовсім підходить. Приходилось сідати, продумувати тактику застосування, як ми будемо знищувати крилаті ракети, ударні дрони. В серпні місяці були перші бойові вильоти на знищення повітряних цілей. 16-го вже більше 1000 знищених повітряних цілей.
The Gripen E, by contrast, represents a newer generation of fighter design, one built specifically around resilience, survivability, and sustained combat operations under constant threat.
The Gripen E system was built to face down high-end opponents in one of the toughest operative environments in the world. It is more agile and more intuitive than any competing system in the skies today. It is, simply put, equipped with superior technology for providing the pilot with a decisive combat information advantage. It starts with a unique system for gathering information. A Gripen E fighter is equipped with a multitude of sensors. These sensors soak up every conceivable bit of information about the surroundings that matter to the pilot and to the aircraft: friends, foes, fuel, reach, flight data, potential targets, and more, feeding the information fusion system. The aircraft processes and fuses the information before sending it on to the pilot. Information fusion is vital. To gain the upper hand in battle, the pilot needs to focus on what matters most in a combat situation. The Gripen E aircraft is perfectly capable of taking care of the rest.
At first glance, the F-16 appears to hold a significant advantage. More than 4,600 examples have been built, making it one of the most successful and widely used combat aircraft in modern history. Its combat record spans decades, and it benefits from one of the most mature support ecosystems ever developed for a fighter aircraft. For Ukraine, this translates into easier access to spare parts, training programs, maintenance expertise, and a massive inventory of compatible Western precision-guided weapons. However, there is an important detail that often gets overlooked. The aircraft entering Ukrainian service are not the newest Block 70 or Block 72 variants. Most are older F-16 AM and BM midlife update aircraft, heavily upgraded and still highly capable, but ultimately based on airframes and technologies developed during the Cold War.
Це було дуже тяжко, тому що тоді потрібно було кілька завдань. Перше – це опанувати техніку нову. Друге – це було завдання зрозуміти і вивчити на швидкоруч правила виконання польотів в повітряному просторі, тому що літали ми в повітряному просторі, де нема обмежень для польотів цивільної авіації, тобто ми всі були в одному повітряному просторі, в одній бульбашці, можна сказати. І тому треба було розуміти всі процедури виконання польотів, щоб не допустити небезпечних випадків в польоті. І плюс в задній кабіні сидів інструктор, який зовсім не розумів ні краплі української мови.
The Gripen E tells a different story. It represents a significantly newer generation of fighter development, incorporating technologies specifically designed to address many of the challenges now defining the war over Ukraine. This becomes particularly clear when examining sensors and situational awareness. The Gripen E is equipped with the Leonardo ES-05 Raven Active Electronically Scanned Array Radar, one of the most advanced fighter radars currently available in Europe. Its swash-plate-mounted design gives it a wider field of regard than conventional fixed-array radars, allowing pilots to maintain target tracks while maneuvering aggressively. It also carries Saab's Skyward G infrared search and track system, which allows passive detection and tracking of airborne targets without relying solely on radar emissions. That capability could prove especially valuable over Ukraine, where Russian electronic warfare systems are specifically designed to degrade radar performance, disrupt communications, and complicate target acquisition.
If I'm looking at the interface in the aircraft and I can see all these objects, I observe those and then I orient myself to see what they mean to me. Already here, the interface in the aircraft provides me with what those objects mean, so I don't really have to orient because the aircraft already done a lot of that for me.
Where other fighters work with human-machine interaction, the interface between pilot and aircraft, Gripen E works with human-machine collaboration, in effect turning pilot and aircraft into one effective fighting unit.
By comparison, Ukraine's F-16 AM and BM fighters rely primarily on upgraded APG-66 and APG-68 radar families. These systems remain highly capable and combat-proven, but they do not offer the same combination of AESA radar technology and integrated infrared search and track capability. In a battle space increasingly dominated by electronic warfare, passive detection and advanced sensor fusion may offer a significant operational edge. The challenge posed by Russian fighter aviation only reinforces this point. Russian Su-35S fighters routinely patrol near the front line carrying advanced air-to-air weapons, including the R-77-1 and the long-range R-37M missile. The latter has become one of the most dangerous threats to Ukrainian aviation because of its ability to engage aircraft at extremely long distances, often forcing Ukrainian pilots to alter their flight profiles before combat even begins. To counter such threats, the Gripen E was designed around the MBDA Meteor missile, widely regarded as one of the most capable beyond visual range air-to-air weapons currently in service. Unlike traditional rocket-powered missiles, Meteor uses ramjet propulsion, allowing it to maintain energy throughout much of its flight profile. This dramatically increases its effectiveness against maneuvering targets at long range. Combined with the Gripen's advanced radar, infrared search and track capability, and sensor fusion architecture, Meteor could potentially give Ukrainian pilots a longer-range engagement option against Russian fighters. The F-16, of course, remains highly competitive in this role. Its AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles have accumulated decades of operational experience and continue to evolve. More importantly, AMRAAM benefits from extensive NATO stockpiles and interoperability, giving Ukraine easier access to both munitions and operational support. When the discussion shifts from air superiority to strike operations, the comparison becomes even more interesting. The F-16 remains one of the most versatile strike fighters ever fielded, largely because of its unmatched weapons ecosystem. Ukrainian F-16s can employ JDAM and JDAM-ER guided bombs, AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles, small-diameter bombs, and a wide range of NATO standard munitions already integrated into the platform. This gives Ukraine immediate access to a mature and combat-proven strike capability.
У нас вже великі досягнення. І я б хотів наголосити, що 16-го по результативності вже більше 1000 знищених повітряних цілей, такі як ударні дрони по типу «Шахет», і реактивні дрони, і також крилаті ракети. Також ми вже завдали ударів по наземним цілям більше ніж 1600 ударів. Тобто проведена колосальна робота. І коли партнери бачать нашу результативність, вони розуміють, як ми в наших умовах обмежених можемо виконувати польоти з такою результативністю. І вони навіть, я б сказав, навчаються у нас, навчаються тактиці і коригують свою тактику, якої вони нас вчили, коли ми були за кордоном.
The Gripen E approaches strike warfare differently. Rather than emphasizing sheer weapons diversity, Saab designed the aircraft around survivable precision warfare inside heavily defended airspace. The fighter relies on sensor fusion, networking, advanced electronic warfare, and standoff engagement concepts intended to maximize effectiveness while minimizing exposure to enemy defenses. That distinction becomes particularly important when considering Russia's layered air defense architecture. Russian forces operate one of the world's most extensive integrated air defense networks, combining S-400 systems with S-300 variants, BUK-M3 batteries, Tor-M2 systems, Pantsir defenses, and powerful electronic warfare assets. Together, these systems create overlapping defensive layers extending deep beyond the front line. Neither aircraft has been publicly tested against this network under wartime conditions, which means any assessment remains analytical rather than empirical. What can be said is that the two fighters approach the challenge differently.
I have the possibility to interact with the aircraft in such a way so the aircraft can give back information relevant to me, and then we're building this collaboration between the aircraft and the pilots.
And it gets even better. A Gripen E never flies alone. On a joint mission, there are always several fighters in the air sharing information. Through human-machine collaboration, their interaction becomes almost like a shared nervous system, with every fighter contributing to the seamless fusion of vital information. Working in a team, sharing intelligence, and having the decisive combat information advantage.
When you're trying to solve something as a team, multiple aircraft, then it's just not one machine collaborating with one human. It's several machines collaborating together. So what if every pilot can see what the other pilot is seeing? Every machine itself is assisting the pilot by not cluttering down and showing everything that the other are seeing.
The F-16 benefits from decades of experience conducting suppression of enemy air defense missions using AGM-88 HARM missiles to directly target radar emitters and force enemy operators to shut down their systems. The Gripen E, meanwhile, was built with survivability inside contested environments as a core design principle. Its advanced electronic warfare suite combines radar warning receivers, electronic support measures, active jamming, digital threat libraries, and automated defensive responses designed specifically for high-threat electromagnetic environments. Yet, perhaps the most important comparison has little to do with missiles or sensors. It comes down to operational resilience. The Gripen was designed under the assumption that Russian missile strikes would target major air bases during the opening hours of a conflict. Swedish planners, therefore, built the aircraft around dispersed operations, allowing it to launch from sections of highway, operate from austere locations, and be rapidly refueled and rearmed by small maintenance teams. This capability directly addresses one of Ukraine's most urgent challenges. Russian ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and long-range drones routinely target Ukrainian airfields. An aircraft capable of dispersing quickly and continuing operations with minimal infrastructure becomes significantly harder to locate, target, and destroy. The F-16 was not originally built around this concept. While it can operate from austere environments under certain circumstances, it generally requires a larger logistical footprint and more extensive support infrastructure. Still, the F-16 retains advantages that cannot be ignored. No Western fighter benefits from a larger support ecosystem. That translates into long-term sustainability, greater modernization opportunities, and unmatched interoperability with allied forces.
Кожен наш політ є найвищим ризиком небезпеки ураження ракетою противника. Лінія фронту дуже насичена зенітно-ракетними комплексами і, звичайно ж, повітряні компоненти. Літаки-перехоплювачі по типу Су-35, Су-57, Міг-31, вони мають можливість знаходитись в зоні чергування, очікуючи, коли наші групи йдуть на удар на великих висотах. Ми, на жаль, не маємо такої можливості. Через те нам приходиться літати понижче, щоб забезпечити безпеку від зенітно-ракетних комплексів.
Ultimately, this debate is about more than comparing two aircraft. It reflects a broader question about the future of air warfare itself. The F-16 represents the backbone of established NATO tactical aviation, proven, versatile, and globally supported. The Gripen E represents a newer design philosophy focused on resilience, survivability, and sustained combat operations under constant threat. As the war in Ukraine increasingly becomes a contest of sensors, electronic warfare, drones, precision missiles, and operational endurance, the decisive factor may not be which fighter appears superior on paper. The more important question may be which aircraft can continue generating combat sorties after the first wave of Russian missile strikes has already hit the airfields. And in that specific scenario, the Gripen E appears to have been designed for exactly the kind of war Ukraine is fighting today.
Gripen E is equipped with the latest systems, sensors and weapons, ensuring combat advantage, delivering air superiority in highly contested environments. And by designing and implementing human-machine collaboration in a unique way, Saab has created the smartest fighter in the skies.